All right, we thank the Lord for blessing us with another meeting here, despite this pandemic and stuff that's going on. Despite all the rioting and protesting and stuff going on in this country. But like I said, what you always say, nevertheless, the truth still got to be put forth. And people that are looking for refuge in the wrong areas, and we just sad to tell you, inform you, but you're not gonna find the refuge because the only safe place is gonna be dealing with the gospel and the truth. So that's the only remedy we'll say, because this stuff that's going on and it's been going on in the past. It was going on a couple of 100 years ago, and it's still going on, and it ain't gonna stop. So there are people that are looking for refuge down here, and we're just gonna tell it like it is. You're not gonna find the refuge down here. The only answer we say, and just like another minister said, it's not a skin issue, it's a sin issue.
Come on. Yes, sir. I like that.
And like people, you get, even in the midst of this, and you look at the nature of things as far as, okay, people protest is one thing, but then there's groups of people out there that are looking for a reason to just do evil. So that's not, they don't have anything to do with the racial thing. That's something else. See, but you're using that avenue because that has nothing to do with if you want to go tearing up people's property and everything. It has nothing to do with the situation. See, so I don't, people that are looking for answers like that, you ain't gonna find them. We're just gonna tell you before you get there. So, and see, here's what the Lord said. He said, the Lord said this, my kingdom is not of this world. So if it's not of this world, we're not gonna be looking for answers in this world.
Come on.
If you think you're gonna, you're gonna go down with the system, because all of this is gonna go down when the Lord returns with the angels. He's not coming back to shake hands. He's coming back to destroy the wicked.
Come on.
Right. So if that means if I'm caught up in all this stuff, because the scripture says, and I think it's in Timothy's account, when he says, no man that wars entangles himself with the affairs of this life. So we're not supposed to be getting engaged in this stuff. This is the world.
Thank you.
And this is America, but this is the world. This is not the kingdom of God, the stuff out here.
Come on.
So and we're not going to focus on that. We are dealing with the truth, because the only remedy for mankind is through the salvation, the way the Lord has set this up for people to get themselves straight. Because it says, like we talked about in other segments, the two salvations that we were talking about, the one salvation deals with people's getting saved from their sins, and then so the ultimate salvation, which everybody's striving for, is to make it in. And that's the salvation that we all striving to make. But this stuff out here, that's the world. And that is not God's way. It ain't never been God's way, it never will. So we're going to tell you, we don't participate in these things, because this is the world. He said the kingdom of this world are pretty much under the jurisdiction of the God of this world, which is the adversary. And he's gonna keep stuff stirring. See, people, when you lose sight, you are trying to retaliate against the seen, but it's the unseen that and that's what. See, when you look at it the way the Lord said for us to look at it, like the apostles that left forth. So you're not going to be out here retaliating against the flesh, because this stuff is about principalities. You got devils that are assigned in regions.
Come on.
This is what we have to deal. You have to, if you don't approach it at that aspect, you're already fighting a losing battle.
Thank you.
You're out here knocking the window down. That ain't going to stop a devil. It's not going to stop the principalities that are in higher places, even in this country, as well as other countries. There are principalities that are over regions and over nations.
Come on.
See, if you don't look at it like that, you're already missing it. You're fighting at what you see. But a lot of this stuff is principalities, and if you don't look at it like the Lord said, you're gonna find yourself frustrated and wondering why the government ain't doing this and all that. See, you already got the wrong focus. So we don't come in it. See, we're not getting into all that because that's the world. Because the Lord said, if His kingdom was of this world, then would His servants stay and fight? But He said, my kingdom is not of this world, and all that stuff that you see is this world.
Come on.
You know, I think I was reading one of the accounts of the gospel when the Lord says, now back then you had the Roman government, which is way more stronger than this. Now you had stuff going on then that the government would do, and you know, you see back then these governments really had more. I guess what they would say now would be more of a dictatorship. But back then, you know, this stuff that's going on now would be tolerated on some of these kingdoms that have been in this world. The Persian kingdom and these kingdoms didn't tolerate the evils. That this little stuff right here, you wouldn't be seeing it, and so that's what I say. But now it's these type of governments where pretty much the people have so much say-so control over and the democratic type of government is not a godly concept. And if you can, and we talking from scriptures now, because a kingdom ain't got nothing to do with what the people say. It's what the king says, and that's what goes.
Good.
And that's why our people, you know, so you might as well say this type of government is anti-God. It is. Because it's not, you know, God is not a democracy.
Thank you.
It's what the Lord said, and that's it. Because, and so what the Lord is doing now is giving people opportunity to be a citizen in His kingdom. But you got to do it the Lord's way. It's not gonna be, you can't come in there with your own rules and making your own amendments. It don't happen.
Come on.
It's not going to happen. It ain't going to happen in this world or the one to come. But I got news for you. If you don't want to comply to what the Lord instituted now, guess what? You won't be inheriting the kingdom of God. It's already written. So we're going to tell you like it is. If you want to come in there and do it, you say you're going to, that's why you got a lot of church people, religious, but you ain't got no truth. See? Religion, all that stuff is going to have their part in the lake of fire. And you know, we're not going to say it any plainer. You know, you can be religious all your life, and that's not going to get you in just because you had a form of godliness. Because this right here, you got to be walking in the truth, and that's what the reason why the Lord has set this thing up. So we seen, last time we met, we was talking some different things, but we're going to work on something today, and this is another example of how the Lord has got this written up. And it's design, and we always say that the Lord has got this, the disciples, is given for the disciples to know the mysteries of the kingdom of heaven. And to others, all these things are in parables. That's why I don't care what church organization it is, whatever setting it is, and all that. If you have a your leadership in your church are unable to break down the mysteries of the gospel, it's a false church. And that's the only way to look at it.
True.
Because when the last segment we said, when the Lord gave the letters to the 7 churches, and he said he knows the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews. You say you call yourself a Jew, but you're not, and you do lie. So that's blasphemy to say you something that you're not. See, it's blasphemous. And all blasphemers is going to have their part in the lake that burns with fire and brimstone, which is the second death. It's not the second life. See, all this stuff is parables. You think it's talking about flames.
Come on now.
See, it's all parables. See, and the Lord has revealed the mysteries to the saints, just like it said in Psalm 19. He said, the heavens declare the glory of God. See, people already thought that we think it's talking about the cosmos. He's talking about the ministers that the Lord had placed in the body. Those is what he's saying when he said the heavens declare. See, it's the ministers, those, it's a symbolic term representing the ministry that has the revelation of the mystery.
Yes, sir.
He said the heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament shows his handiwork. So that's what this is. That's what we are the heavens. People say, what? Now, see, already we done lost people. See, I had somebody to dispute with me about that. Probably been some years ago But they thought it was talking about the cosmos. See, and then they say that's why he said the Bible is in parables to those that are on the outside, but it's revealed to the disciples and the babes. He says he hid these things from the wise and prudent and revealed them unto babes. And that's not talking about you becoming a little child, but it's talking about when you humble yourself as a child and that you inherit the kingdom of heaven. See, but it's see, if you wise and prudent, you're lost and you can't see this stuff. But the Lord ain't gonna let you see it.
Thank you.
So we're gonna work on, see how far we're gonna get today. We're gonna look at it's in 4 counts, but we're gonna work on start out in Matthew the 14th chapter. Everybody's familiar. And then you see these, the TV evangelists as well as all these organizations, and see, here's what there's a lack of, people can explain, they're not explaining it, they're talking about testimony, but they're not explaining testimony. And this is where the work comes in at. So I don't need anybody to quote the scripture. And this has been going on so long in these churches. And that's why we were saying there's a deeper thing behind this. These churches are in the suspension for a reason. And maybe the virus brought about it, but there's a reason why the Lord has got these churches on lockdown.
Come on.
And the majority of these churches are not preaching sound doctrine, and that's cutting. We're going to tell it like it is.
Uh-huh.
So there's a reason why the Lord's got these churches on lockdown. That's what we're saying. See, because it's time, especially the church, to, if you need to turn from falsehood, you need to really examine to see whether you're in the faith. And that's to see, God gives people space to see what they're going to do. Are you going to take this time right, because these churches are in suspension. When this thing comes back down to where everything starts getting back, whenever that might be. But the thing is, it's time to examine to see whether you're in the faith. And that's what we're here for. The Lord blesses this platform to do it. Yes. We're going to work on, this is probably a familiar passage for a lot of people. Everybody's probably heard about. This is when he did the miracle of the loaves and fishes. But immediately after that, there was, he said, this is after he had fed the multitude. This is the first miracle that he did. Those of you who are familiar with the first miracle was dealing with the 5 loaves and 2 fish. Okay, so then it was 2 different miracles with the loaves and fishes. The second one was a few small fish and 7 loaves and a few small fish. So there were 2 different miracles. So people, and back when we were small, we were growing up in churches and everything. You heard people making songs about Lord turning water into wine and feeding the multitude, but that's as far as we know. You got to get past the parable, see. And so that's all we knew, okay? He fed the multitude, but if you observe, those of you that are studying, there were 2 different miracles between loaves and fishes. So the first one dealt with the house of Israel. We were going into another aspect, but we're just telling you what happened prior to him saying, we're going to start out in Matthew 14 and 22. But so the second miracle dealt with, when he said it was a few small fishes and 7 loaves, dealt with the Gentiles. So there were 2 miracles about the loaves and fishes. One of them dealt with the house of Israel, the other. But we're not going to get into that today, but this we're just telling you that was the event that happened right before. And so in 22, Matthew 14, 22, and then he goes into this, and we're going to see, he says, and this is how the Lord tells us to read the scriptures, he said, line upon line, precept upon precept, here a little and there a little. So in order to get the understanding of this, what he's talking about when he goes into this other thing, you got to get all 4 counts. But we start in Matthew. So what do you say?
And straightway Jesus constrained his disciples to get into a ship and to go before him unto the other side, while he sent the multitude away. And when he had sent the multitudes away, he went up into a mountain apart to pray. And when the evening was come, he was there alone.
All right. Okay, and then what?
But the ship was now in the midst of the sea, tossed with waves, for the wind was contrary. And in the fourth watch of the night, Jesus went into them, walking on the sea. And when the disciples saw him walking on the sea, that they were troubled, saying, "Is it a spirit?" And they cried out for fear. But straightway Jesus spake unto them, saying, "Be of good cheer, it is I. Be not afraid."
All right, well, hold right there. Now, this is those of you who've been, going to church or churches and whatever organization you in. This right here, a lot of people are familiar with this. I'm gonna say we're getting away from saying this story because this is actually a testimony. So now this happened immediately after when he made in Matthew 14 and in the verses up above. He says when he told them to take up the fragments that remain, and then that's when they had 12 baskets full. So this miracle is dealing with the house of Israel. Now we're going to examine why the Lord told them to get into a ship and to go to the other side. Now, see here, this is where we got to do some work.
Amen.
We got to do some work. What is he talking about? On the other side of what? See, some questions. Those of you who are looking that don't want the scriptures to remain a parable to you. Some questions I already should ask. Well, what does he mean when he told them to go to the other side into a ship? And then why did he go into a mountain to pray? And then it says when the evening was come, he was there alone. See, this, you see, we always say everything means everything when it comes down to the scriptures, and it's breaking down a greater revelation of the mystery. And the Lord bless us with this platform. So
yes, sir.
We're just getting some questions to be arising. What is he talking about? Why did he told him to go the other side of what? So those of you that want this to remain a parable to you, so they went into the sea. All right. So you said, well, he just told him to go to the other side of the lake. See, if that's far as you going with it, then it's going to remain a parable to you until you inquire of the Lord. What is the Lord saying? See. All right. Now we're going to go to Mark. We're going to go to Mark's account. See, it's here a little and there a little. The 6th chapter of Mark. We're going to examine. Let's start. That starts in verse 29, if I'm mistaken. But see, this is an example, just like we said in the last few segments. This is an example of how the scriptures are. And then, so there's a challenge for everybody. If you want these scriptures to remain a parable to you, then that's what's going to happen. So this one, it's Mark 6, and we look down. And then we're going to get the same subject matter. He had just got through doing the miracle with the 5 loaves and 2 fish. And then he says in verse 45, all right, and we're going to understand. Then another question will rise. Let's see. Another question will rise is why it says the wind was contrary. See, all these things should strike questions. If you really want to know what the Lord is saying, all this is why did he say? Why is the wind contrary and all this? So what do you say in 45? Let's see, 45, Mark 6 and 45.
All right. And straightway he constrained his disciples to get into the ship and to go to the other side before to Bethsaida. While he sent away the people. And when he had sent them away, he departed into a mountain to pray. And when evening was come, the ship was in the midst of the sea, and he alone on the land. And he saw them toiling and rowing, for the wind was contrary unto them. And about the 4th watch of the night, he cometh unto them, walking upon the sea, and would have passed them by. But when they saw him walking upon the sea, they supposed it had been a spirit, and cried out. For they all saw him and were troubled. And immediately he talked with them and said unto them, Be of good cheer, it is I, be not afraid. And when he went up unto them into the ship, the wind ceased, and they were so amazed in themselves beyond measure, and wondered.
All right. See, now, it's the same subject. We just looked at two accounts. So, at this point, we want to say, okay, first of all, it says, when he sent them, he said he constrained them, his disciples, to get into the ship, to go to the other side. So this is the second account. So he told them, this account tells us to go before unto Bethsaida, and that deals with when you're dealing with bringing disciples in, because Bethsaida means the fishing house. So it's talking about bringing in souls. So that's what this word is talking about, Bethsaida. A lot of these words you got to look up. All right, so we're gonna work on. We're gonna get another count, because you got to get all the facts, and then you got to put it together.
Mm-hmm.
So he said the same thing. It says when he had sent them away, he departed to a mountain to pray. So 47, verse 47 we just read. It says when even was come, it's still dealing with a certain time period.
Mm-hmm.
The ship was in the midst of the sea. He alone on the land. He saw them toiling and rowing, for the wind. See, here's again. You see, it's saying it again. The wind was contrary, right? And then there's a reason why he come in the fourth watch of the night. See, now we're gonna go to Luke's account, and this is a little work to read. All right, 9th chapter of Luke, and I think it started at verse 10. So this is what I say. This is an example, like we always say, this is an example of how the scriptures are. If you don't labor in this, you got to labor in the word and doctrine and everything. All right, so let's start a little bit later down. 9th chapter. All right, let's see if I can find it. This is in Luke's account.
I don't think it's in John.
It is in John, but I thought they had made okay, immediately. So it goes into Luke's account, goes into another testimony about, so he asked the disciples, this is after he had fed with the loaves and fishes. They had 12 baskets took up. So here in verse 18 in Luke 9, it just says, he came to pass as he was alone praying. Okay. His disciples were with him, and he asked them. So this goes into another segment. So Luke 9 does not, let's see, make sure I got this right. The 9th chapter of Luke doesn't cover the testimony, so we're going to go right after the miracle. So this is what let's see, wait a minute. All right, okay. Yeah, that goes right after he did the miracle of the loaves and fishes. It goes into another. All right, trying to make sure before I pull out a Luke to make sure it's not covering another part. All right, I think that's it. We're going to go to John's account. So that's why the scripture says the testimony of two men is true. He said the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses, every word is established. And that's so when you study the scriptures, so we're going to go to John 6. So Luke's account does not, we got to make sure, does not give any more of the testimony of what we're talking about. Now here's where we're going to do some work. All right, John 6, and this, we're going to pick it up again. So here's where he told them to gather the fragments. This is the third, so that the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses, every word is established. Mm-hmm. So now, then we're gonna get. See, here's another thing that's gonna give us give this away. Now, if you look at John 6 account, this is all right. So here's what it says now. When he did the miracle of the loaves and fishes, notice what's going on here. Verse 4 is telling us in John 6. Verse 4 is saying that the Passover. See, that's what I say. I'm telling you, I just thank the Lord because, we could be, I've seen times people just read over stuff. But you have to know what is going on. That's why you got to look at the verses above it and all. You got to get all the subject matter. You got to make sure when you study, and you got to look at each account, because if you miss out, leave something out, you're not going to get a complete understanding. So here's when he did the miracle of loaves and fishes. This verse 4 says the Passover, a feast of the Jews, was near. Mm-hmm. All right, that right there, that's major. That's major because that's going to break the ice on what the events was going on. See, so when you know that, so you know what the Passover is about, you can take this back to Exodus, Old Testament, and everything else. The Passover, when they had to keep the law all the way up until Jesus died. He was the Passover, right? They took the lamb in on the 10th day, kept it for 4 days. This is in Exodus' account. See, here's where this breaks the ice. If you really want to know what the Lord is talking about, and when you get the right understanding, it will settle you, establish you, and strengthen you.
There you go.
To where you're going to be established in the faith. See, and this is why we're telling you the Lord has got these churches on suspension, that you might examine yourself, that you do see whether you're in the faith. There's a reason why. So just don't think it just because it's a virus. The virus is brought about, but there's a deeper revelation behind why there's a virus. You need to be examining ourselves to see if we're in the faith.
Come on.
See, instead of just all this church going, you need to make sure you're in the truth, because your leaders, your organization, right? And this is why we say, thank the Lord for this platform, but once we know this, every organization was started by some man or a group of individuals or whatever.
Come on.
So just don't get caught up in, well, this organization has been around for this so many years, so many hundreds of years. It don't matter. Somebody started your organization. But what you need to examine is not so much that. You need to examine what it is they're teaching and pushing. Because if you ain't pushing the truth, then if you're supporting that stuff, you're supporting falsehood and false prophets. See, we're gonna call it like it is.
Come on.
we're not talking about it in particular, but we're telling you, if you are sitting up under an organization that's not preaching sound doctrine, then you're pushing falsehood and all of that. So that means, I don't care how you feel about it. If you say, well, that's them, no. If you participate in it, then you're a partaker of that evilness. You're a partaker of the evil, that means you're going to go down with it. Yes. I don't care how you feel about it.
Come on.
See, that's what we're here for. We're not here to play games and everything. We're going to tell you the truth of the matter. You got to be established in the truth. And if you are not, then this is why the Lord has got this stuff on suspension, that you might examine yourself.
Come on.
And this is when we put this out, instead of fighting it and all that, because you ain't never heard it. See, we're telling you, consider what I say. The Lord will give you understanding in all things. So this right here breaks the ice. It says, verse 4 says, first of all, the Passover was near. All right, so you read the other two accounts when he said when evening was came, that's why he went into a mountain to pray. See, the evening, most people say, well, it's the evening. No, because the Passover lamb was killed in the evening.
Come on. And
that means, see, this is what I say, we're telling people, you got to examine, look, take these things into account, put it all together, right? So the evening is represent that the end times, namely that Christ is the end time sacrifice, according to Hebrews 9th chapter. He said he didn't offer himself many times, but he only offered himself once at the end of the world.
Yes, sir.
So that's why I said when evening came and he told the disciples to go into the other side, we're going to find out what he's talking about here. And this is going to break the ice. The other side of what?
Come on.
See?
Come on.
All right. So if you look down, we're going to skip down. So we just read in verse 4 of what the situation was. It was the Passover. It was near. See? So he did the multitude with fish and loaves. And then this is the one when it said it was 12 baskets. That's representing the 12 tribes of Israel.
Come on.
Right? So the Passover, a feast of the Jews, was near, and you got to take that back to the Old Testament because the Old Testament is revealing the New Testament. And Jesus is that, according to 1 Corinthians 5th chapter, verse 8, that Christ is our Passover. So you got to line this up.
Come on. Yes, sir.
Now, watch this. So in verse 14, and we can really get some more insight on this. We're going to read what happened. The elder's going to read what's going on here.
John.
6, verse 14. I'm going to read down.
Okay. All right. It reads as follows. And those men, when they had seen the miracle of Jesus dead, said, this is of a truth that prophet that should come into the world. When Jesus therefore perceived that they would come and take him by force to make him a king, he departed again into a mountain himself alone.
All right. Now, here we're gonna break this down. This, when it's talking about, see, this is not talking about, this is a deeper meaning than somebody just seizing. It's not talking about somebody gonna seize you and throw you on the throne. That's not what it's talking about.
Right.
Because force is dealing with the law. Anytime you see, especially in the book of Esther, and that is a strong doctrine book there. As far as those of you familiar with that testimony, when Haman, when he got pretty much put down, and it says in one of the accounts, this is in the later part of Esther, when it says that he was going to force the queen. See, people don't understand these terms, how the scriptures got. And it's the same thing what happened with Joseph, the testimony. And you need the book of Jasher. This is what we're telling you. You need the book of Jasher to get the complete understanding, because the woman that pretty much brought an accusation against Joseph, right? But it says, so in Jasher's account, it says that the judge, they put Joseph before the judges to see whether his testimony was true concerning this woman. So when it says, then it goes into a thing that said, if the garment that she had seized, if the tear was in the front, then it means Joseph was opposing the woman. See, this is breaking down. So, so the thing about when it's using the term force is not talking about somebody just going to grab you, seize you, and throw you on it. That's not what it's talking about.
Come on.
This is saying, this is what, so here is going to break the ice on why he told him to go to the other side. The other side of what? See, it's dealing with two dispensations. That's what it's talking about. So the law, remember what we said, the law was at force. And then Jesus, until Jesus died, the law was still standing. So this is why he told him to go to the other side. And then we're going to find out what happened. And these verses are going to reveal why he told him to go to the other side.